software engineer, product designer, graphic designer, AI developer, software developer, all these big English. What do they actually do? All the different aspects of tech, what do they actually do? So in this video, I want to break it down for you, just in case you are trying to learn any of these skills or you want to move into tech and you've been hearing all these different aspects of tech, you've been hearing all these different fields that makes up the big word technology, and you are confused, which one should I go for? What do these people actually do for a living? In this video, I'll be breaking it down to you in simple English so that you will understand what they actually do. Let's even say you want to do something, or you want to hire somebody, or let's say you have something you want to build and you don't know the right person to call, you don't know the right person to approach. I will tell you what every aspect of tech does, and hopefully this video will help you to pick the right people for the right job, or probably this video will help you to move into the right path that you've always wanted to go into. Now, whenever people hear tech, all they think about is programming, mostly, because it for me it has to be the most popular one. So once you tell somebody I'm a tech guy or I'm into tech, they just simply assume that you are a programmer. They assume that you are into coding. But the truth is that tech is much more bigger than just coding. Tech is much more bigger than just computer programming. Tech has other branches in it. So today I will explain the different parts of tech as much as I can remember, the different parts of the industry, what they actually do in simple English. So let's get to it. Number one, software development. Software development. I believe so much that you've heard about software development a couple of times, but still inside that software development there are different aspects of software development. Now, a software developer, you can call the person a developer or a programmer. You are not wrong. So if you see a software developer, or will I say a software engineer, and you call the person an engineer, you are right. If you call the person a programmer, you are also right. If you even call the person a developer, you are still right. Now, what people think they do? People actually think a software engineer or a software developer writes code every day. No, that is not the truth. We don't just write code every day. Or will I say a software engineer doesn't write code every single day. What a software engineer actually do is this. A software engineer builds softwares, just like the name applies, software. A software engineer builds software. A software engineer builds mobile applications or web application. A software engineer builds websites. For example, WhatsApp was developed by software developers. So the WhatsApp on your mobile phone was developed by a mobile app developer who is also a software engineer. The Instagram on your mobile phone was developed by a mobile app developer, or will I say developed by mobile app developers. Now, there is also a website version of Instagram. There is a web version of WhatsApp. Now, that web version of WhatsApp and Instagram, or any other app that you know, was designed by a website developer. Remember, the app was designed by an app developer. The website was designed by, or let's say was built by a website developer. The bank apps on your phone were designed by mobile app developers. The bank web applications in your desktop were designed by a website developer. Games, etc. Okay, these are what software developers do. Now, every time you click a button and something happens, a developer made that possible. So when you go to your WhatsApp, you click somebody's name and it opens your conversation with that person. The developer made it possible. There is nobody sitting down somewhere approving all these buttons, no, or making these buttons work. A software developer, or let's say software developers, have already written the logic behind it that is bringing the app to life. So their roles. Okay, let me just mention different types of software developers. So we have web developers, front end web developers that builds front end part of a website. We also have front end mobile app developers that builds the front end part of a mobile application. Now you hear me say front end. What that front end simply just means is the user interface, the part that you, the user, is seeing. So the part that is scrollable, the part that is clickable, the part that you are interacting with. So the front-end developers, both for websites and mobile apps, or let's say softwares. Softwares, example, Photoshop on your PC, the Microsoft Word on your PC, they are software. So that part you are interacting with were designed or were built by a front-end developer. Then still inside that software engineering, we have what we call back-end developers. So the back-end developers are the people that brings it to life. They bring it to life. So all those designs, all those stuff that the front-end person have built, they are there, you are seeing it, but they wouldn't have been functional without the help of a back-end developer. So a back-end developer brings it. So like the back-end developer is usually the brain behind the logic, the functionalities of a mobile app or a web application. Now, let me make an example. Let me use the human body, or let's say a human being, as an example. So I'm going to bring God into this. So now, when God said, "Let us make man in our own image," or let's say when you say, "I want to build a mobile application," you just have an idea in your head. Now, before you start, or let's say you say, "I want to build a house," you just have an idea in your head. Now, there are processes in creating a human being. There are processes in building a mobile app. Same way there are processes in building a structure, like a building. Now, the first thing you do if you want to build a house is that you meet an architecture, right? You meet an architecture. The architecture gives you the blueprint of the building. Now, when it comes to tech, the architectures are usually the people we call UI UX designers, which I'm going to be discussing next. Now, the UI UX designer, that word UI UX simply just means user interface and user experience. So the UI UX designer designs the blueprint. So same way the architecture draw the blueprints of the building. That's the same way UI UX designer draws the architecture of the website. So he draws everything. He's the one that knows, okay, the picture is supposed to be at the right hand corner, or the picture should be at the middle of the screen. The login button should be maybe just below the picture. The login button should have blue color. All those designs, he's the one that designs the prototype. Then when you click on the login button, what screen should come in next? Should it be, let's say you enter the wrong password, the screen that should tell you incorrect password, what should it look like? Should it come out maybe in red color, blue color? Prototype designer designs all of that. The same way the architecture designs, okay, what color is the door going to be like? What color are we going to paint the first floor? What color is the roof going to be like? The architecture does all of that. Same way God said, "Let us make man in our own image." So that means the prototype is God's image. God had a prototype at the back of his head of creating man. Now, after that process, when the UI UX designer is done with his own part and the architecture is done with his own part, the next person to approach is an engineer. So you give the engineer, or let's say the engineering team, the blueprints that have been provided to you by the architecture. So the engineering team now comprises of the front end and the back end developers. Now, when you give them that, the front end developer starts writing the codes that starts molding whatever the prototype designer, who is the UX designer, have designed. He starts molding them, bringing them to life. Start making it possible for that application to come into existence. Same way the engineers or will I say the builders of a building, will start molding the blocks, painting, putting the roofs, doing the roof work and the cement jobs and all of that. That was the same way God started molding man with water and earth, or will I say clay. Now, after molding man, man was just lying lifeless. That is the same way when a front-end developer develops an application or develops a website, the website is almost lifeless. Yes, you can see it. You can see it's already there. What you have in the prototype is what he has designed, but the functionalities are not there yet. When you click a button, it actually doesn't do anything. When you fill it, let's say there is a form on the website. When you fill a form, the form will not go anywhere. There is no database where the form is going to. There is no error message coming out when you put a wrong password and the rest of them. So that same way, when God created man, man was lying lifeless, not until he breathed into man. And now the eyes can open, the eyes can see, the mouth can talk, the hands can move. That is what a back-end developer does to a website. After the front-end developer has designed the website or designed an application, the back-end developer now comes in and make the website come to life. So all the logic, let's say for example, when you go to your mobile, let me use your mobile app for example. Almost everybody in Nigeria uses OPay these days. Now, when you go to OPay, the first thing you see is like a welcome screen or something. Now, that welcome screen, you have to register. So you register. During the registration, you are asked to provide probably your name, your phone number, and the rest, and all the information needed. After providing all those informations, there is a place those information go to. It's called a database. So the information goes to a database. Then there's also a part where you have to provide maybe a username and a password. It goes into a database. Now, when you come back to that app and you want to check your dashboard or maybe check your balance or something, when you try entering your username and your password and you make and when you enter that username, what the application is doing, when you enter the username and click the login button, the application goes to the database and check everybody they have on their database. Do we actually have this username here on the database? If the username is there, it checks the password. If the password is not correct, it pops out like an error message to you saying incorrect password or incorrect credentials, whatever the error message is. He's a backend developer that is making all those things possible. So he has already written codes, logics that the app has to work with. So he has already built in to the app. So the app functions whether there is anybody there or not, no matter the time it opens up the app. Let's say a situation where you actually enter the correct username and password. It shows you your dashboard. That is because you've passed all the logic that was written behind that app function. So I hope this explanation has made it a bit clearer for you to understand what these different people do. So like I just mentioned, in that software development, we have the front-end developers, we have for websites, we have the front-end developers for mobile apps, and we also have back-end developers for websites and mobile application, and of course softwares too. Now, I believe you've also heard of full stack developer. So just as the name implies, full stack, what it actually means is somebody that is not only focused on the front end or the back end, rather this particular person can do both front and back end. So that means he can build the front end parts that the user is seeing, and he can also make it come to life. He can also write the codes that makes it comes to life, the parts where the user is not seeing. Those people are called full stack developers. Now, to the number two, the number two person I will be explaining is the UI and UX design, or will I say UI and UX designer? You've heard me mention it before. So the UI and UX designer, some people call them product designers, some call them designers. Whichever one you call them is correct. So just as the name implies, they are the one that designs the blueprint. Remember, they don't build the website. They don't have any business about building the website. In fact, they don't even write any code whatsoever. Most of them don't even know how to write one line of code. But rather, They are very skilled in designing, say, prototype. So it doesn't just end with designing it. They are the ones that determines, okay, after this screen, what is the next screen going to be like? Let's say, for example, if you go to your Instagram page now and you're scrolling to your Instagram, you will see more like a suggestion tab where you will see maybe numbers of people on your phone or something. Now, when you click on follow, it follows the person. The button changes color. The UI UX designer was the person that determined the color that button should change into. When you even open the person's profile, you see the profile picture that you were seeing that was big before, it now goes maybe to the right, top right corner of the screen, and it becomes smaller. The UI UX designer decides that, so he knows the best place to place whatever it is. He knows the best place the picture should be. He knows the best font to use for the website. He knows the best color to use for the font. He knows the best way the website should scroll. Should it scroll faster or slow? He knows how, if there's a counter, he knows how it should count. But he's not going to design all of that, but he's not going to build all of that, so he just designs the blueprint. So what in a simple term, a UI UX designer, they make things look fine. So if you leave a website for the front end and the back end to just design, it might not be as beautiful as when there is a UI UX designer in that project, because that is their job. They are very creative. They have eyes for color, they have eyes for positioning, they have eyes for size. So they make it look beautiful. They decide how an app should look and how easy it should be used. So just like when you click your OP, it just sends and all those things. The UI UX designer have already designed the prototype, how everything should work. So they are the ones that make things look beautiful, and they also make it look easy to use. If an app is beautiful but confusing, the designer didn't do well. If it's simple and smooth, that's a good UI UX designer. Okay, so whatever app you are using now, if it's giving you stress, yes, it's looking fine. If the app is not looking fine, it's the UI UX designer's fault. If the app is giving you stress, the screens are confusing, you go from this particular screen to another screen and you are confused, it's the designer's fault, because the designer was the one that gave the developers what to develop. Yes, but if the app is seamless, is beautiful, everything is placed all right, the user interaction is awesome, the user experience is top notch, just give credit to the UI UX designer. Okay, then the next one I'll be talking about is data and analysis. So some people will call them data scientists, some we call them analysts, some may call them analysts, some may call them data scientists. So a data analyst or a data scientist, or whatever you call it anyway. So what people actually think, people think they work with numbers. People always think a data analyst only work with numbers. But what they actually do is this: they help companies understand data so that they can make better decisions. If you have watched my last video, I mentioned that big companies, before they make marketing decisions, they invite or they employ data analysts. Now, what the data analyst does is this: they analyze using the past history or using whatever data that was provided for them. They make analysis and they come to conclusion what decisions the company should make to either improve their sales or maybe get more customers and the rest of them. Let's say, for example, when you want to run a Facebook ad, and you enter the age that you want to reach, the range for your ad and the rest of them. The data, and what Facebook is just helping you do is the job of a data analyst. So you see, they'll now show you potential reach. So that potential reach they are showing you is what a data analyst would have done. So they are telling you, okay, if you are selecting this range, and this range, that's the environment, maybe Abuja or whatever, and you're selecting this age bracket from maybe 25 to 50, or maybe you're selecting people that are interested in luxury or people that are interested in watches, now gives you, okay, your potential reach will be so and so. Yes, that's what a data analyst does. So a data analyst helps company understand data so that they can make better decisions. Let's say if Coca-Cola now wants to have a new product that, let's say, tastes more like Fanta, and they want that product to sell fast, they would not just push the product to different parts of the world. No, they will first of all go and look their data. Which age brackets usually buy our product the more? When they can answer that question, they now check which country usually buy our product the more. That will not determine where they want to push the product to. Coca-Cola might be a little bit confusing. Let me use alcohol for example. I'm a Nigerian, I live in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have Christians and we have Muslims. Now, if I have an alcoholic company, or let's say I have a company that produces alcohol beverages, let's say beer or something. If I want to do a promotion or I want to push my product, I will not just push my product to different parts of the country. No, I will check which part of the country drinks alcohol the more. Which parts of the country will their religion allow them to take alcohol? Which part of the country is known for spending more money in alcohol? Data analysts will help me understand that. Data analysts will bring that data, help me understand that. Now, if I determine, okay, this is the part of the country that drinks alcohol the more, I will also ask myself, which area of that particular city or that particular state have more elderly people? Because elderly people are my customers. Which area have more elderly? That is that area now I will focus my attention on. So data analysts help companies understand data and make better decisions. So in simple terms, they answered questions like, why are customers leaving? They answer questions like, which product sells more? They answer questions like, what should we improve in? So you see why big companies employ data analysts and they make more sales, because with the help of the data analysts, they can know why their customers are either coming or leaving. They can also know what products they are selling the more, and they can also know the products or which area they should improve in. That way, the company keeps moving forward. Now, on to the next one. The next one is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. Now, what people think cybersecurity do is this: they are hackers. People think they are hackers. Yes, I've met a couple of people, and I'm like, and when you tell them, okay, there is this thing called cybersecurity, the first thing that comes into their mind is, can you hack a Facebook account for me? Or can you hack so and so for me? No, cybersecurity is, they are not hackers. Just like the name implies, they protect systems, they protect websites, and they protect data from hackers. So, just the name, cybersecurity. When you hear security is somebody that protects. So, there are already hackers out there that are trying to penetrate your mobile app. They are trying to penetrate and get your details and probably do something with it. The job of the cybersecurity is to protect it from those people. So imagine if big companies don't have cybersecurity. Imagine if, let's say, for example, banks, fintech companies, imagine if they don't have cybersecurity. I can tell you that they wake up the next morning and they'll be looking for all their money. So what the cybersecurity does is to protect and make sure the website and data of the customers of that website is secure from hackers. Okay, so in simple terms, if your bank app is secure and your money is safe, cybersecurity people are working behind the scene and you don't even know. So you see, you can comfortably just put in your millions in the bank and it's just there. Anytime you wake up, you are seeing it there. Why? Because there are cybersecurity people protecting your money for you. Now, the next one I have to go into is cloud computing and DevOps. Cloud computing and DevOps. Not so popular. A lot of people don't know. I've not even heard it before. Some people don't know what they do at all. But let me make it simple for you. What people think they do is that, what people actually think about this people, they think it's too technical. Already, you're hearing the name cloud computing. Do they work in the cloud? Are they working above us? And you're hearing things like DevOps. Remember, I did not say developer, I said DevOps. DEVOPS, DevOps. So people always think it's too technical, but let me make it simple. They make sure apps are online, fast, and don't crash. That's just what they do. Their job is to always make sure your app is online. So whenever you log into your app, it's there, it's working. So whenever you see that your app is down, you are trying to log into a bank app, it's down, then that means either they don't have a DevOps engineer, or they are not doing their job well. So they always make sure the apps, the websites are online and stayed on anytime you go into it. If you log in by 12 midnight, you can access your app. It's a job of a DevOps, and they always make sure it's fast. Imagine how many billion people are using Facebook, for example. But still, whenever you enter Facebook, it's working very fast. But there are some websites that don't even have up to 10,000 users. And when you enter the website, it's usually slow. Before one thing will open, it will take minutes. Why? Because Facebook have more professional and skilled cloud engineers and DevOps than those other smaller companies. So they make it fast and they don't allow it to crash. I know we must have heard some website, you hear that, okay, this website is no longer in existence, it has crashed, it's no longer there, something happened, hackers have hacked it or whatever. The job of a DevOps is to make sure it doesn't crash, no matter the amount of people using it at that particular time. It won't crash. That is the job of a DevOps, just in case you want to go into that part. Then we also have the number 6 one, which is IT support and system administration. IT support and system administration. What people think? People usually think they just fix computers. No. IT support, yes, they fix computer, but that is not their job. They are not computer engineers. Their job is not to fix computer. They might fix computer for you, but that is not their job. They don't fix computers. What they actually do is that they make sure systems, networks, emails, devices work properly in a company. So you usually see an IT support in a company, especially big companies. So their job is just to make sure that everything is working properly. All the laptops, all the devices, the networks, the internet is working properly. The emails, that is their job. So they make sure, okay, this thing is updated, this thing is up to date, this thing is not going to close very soon, this thing is not going to stop working. They optimize the system. If the system is overworking, they try to make it cool down and all the rest of them. That is the job of an IT. So they support the company in making sure the whole system, the whole process, the whole devices in that particular office is working properly. So if your office Wi-Fi works and your laptop doesn't crash every day, IT support is doing a great job, because the truth is that if you are using a laptop or a computer to work every day, there is tendencies that it will always break down, because it's just like a human being. Imagine you working every single day without rest. You will get sick. You might even take a sick leave for 1 week. Now imagine your laptop that you put on and you work with it. The processor is working, everything is working for more than 24 hours. So it breaks down. So the job of the IT support is to make sure, okay, this computer will not break down. If the processor is overheating, the job of the IT support is to make sure that the fan is working properly, the processor paste is working properly, everything is working properly, just to make sure that the system is in good order. Now, the next one I want to talk about is product management. What people think they do. People actually think product managers do nothing, because, okay, product is something like websites, mobile app, whatever. So after the explanation of website, and I might actually say, okay, what is a product manager coming to do now? Knowing that the website have already been designed by a UI UX designer, the prototype have already been designed, the front end have already been built by a front end developer, the back end have already been built by a back end developer, the DevOps engineers are making sure that it's online working, the cybersecurity is making sure that it's secure. Then what is a product manager coming to do again? Let me explain what a product manager does. Product manager is the one, they decide what should be built in the first place. They decide what should be built, what it should be built for, and when it should be released. So they are more like the managers. So let's say if you see Meta build a new product, let's say for example, Meta has WhatsApp, they have Instagram, they have Facebook, and or some other things. So if you see them now come up and say they want to build something that looks like, let's say, YouTube, and compete with YouTube, or maybe they want to build something that looks like Twitch, where people will just come online and stream. If you see them ever start doing something like that, just know that the product managers have made that decision. Those are the product managers said, okay, let's build this. Then, apart from them making the decision of building it, they also know the reason why they want to build it. And apart from that, they're also the one that determines when it will be released. Now, that timeline that they have set is a timeline that both the prototype designer, the front-end designer, the back-end designer, everybody will work towards to make sure the company achieves that goal. So in simple terms, they are the bridge between the users, the designers, and the developers. So the product manager knows what the user needs at this particular time. What do they need? What is trending now? What product should we build? It's the product manager that knows that. Then the product manager relates it to the designer. Design something like this. After the designer has designed it, the product manager tells the developers, build this thing that the designer has built. So they are the bridge between you, the user, the designers, and the developers. They are called product manager, and it's a tech skill, and it has nothing to do with coding. In fact, they don't even code. But throughout their career, they have nothing to do with code. They just make sure everything is going as planned. So the next people is people that we call the QA or testers. QA is the short for quality assurance. What people think they do, people think they complain about bugs. No, they are not just complainers. What testers, or will I say quality assurance, do is that they test apps to make sure everything works before users can see it. So that is why almost every app you are using is almost as if it's perfect. But it wasn't that perfect after building it. There are always bugs. Designers make mistakes. Developers make mistakes. Front-end developers make mistakes. Back-end developers they are human beings. It is now the job of the tester, or will I say quality assurance person, to figure out those mistakes and point it out and make sure they are being corrected before they can push the product to users to start downloading or start using it, so that there will be no complaint from users. Remember, the goal is always to make sure that your customer is satisfied. So the quality assurance makes sure everything is the way it should be. They make sure that what the UI UX designer is, the prototype he is drawing or designing is the same thing, is exactly what the product managers have come up with. The quality assurance makes sure that what this front-end designer guy have built is exactly the way the prototype designer designed it. The quality assurance makes sure that what this back-end guy have done, or what this whole app represents, is exactly the way the company wanted it to be. That is the job of a product, or let's say a quality assurance person. So in simple terms, they catch mistakes so you don't experience problem. So whenever you're using and you are not experiencing any problem, just make sure that all the mistakes that you would have seen, you've already seen it. People are being paid to do that. There are people that are into tech, they call themselves tech guys, but they don't write code. The only thing they do is, when companies are done building products, they give it to them and they just make sure everything works fine the way it should be. All right, let me just close with this. I know the video is already long enough now. Tech is not just coding. There is a place for designers, there is a place for analysts, there is a place for testers, there is a place for support staff, there is a place for planners. The key is finding what matches your skill and interest. So whenever you hear tech and you want to move into tech, it's not just coding. As a designer, you can go into tech. As an analyst, you can go into tech. As a tester, you can go into tech. As a support staff, you can go into tech. If you want to be a planner, you can go into tech. The key is just for you to find what matches your curiosity, your skill, and your interest. If you want me now, if you want me to, let's say for example, all this thing I've been explaining, you still don't understand it, you can always leave a comment. I'll be sure that I'll make another video explaining better or deeper whatever thing that you are finding difficult to understand actually means. Okay, to end here, I actually wrote a lot of things, but I will end here for now. And yes, the last video, I saw your comments. I also want this opportunity to like apologize for making the background sound louder than my voice in the last video, because that was most of the comments I was receiving. But I do appreciate your comments, your likes, and your subscription, and be sure that we've taken that correction. Okay, and until I see you again, please do well to subscribe, please do well to like, please do well to follow our social media platforms at Top Boy Podcast. We are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and we are on X. Please do well to follow us. Please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you can always get updates on videos like this. We'll be posting videos like this as frequently as we can. I'll see you next time. Thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. I love you.